Welcome everyone to the first episode of Tarvould's Best, a quicker, lighter show where I go through top 10 lists of some of my favorite things. Could be anything, music, hardware, games, whatever. Before we start though, I have to preface this by saying the thing that everyone making a top 10 list says. This list will be based solely on objective hard truths. My list is the definitive list, and if yours is different, then you need to rethink your life choices. To start things off, I'm going to be listing my top 10 games from my very first video game console, the Nintendo Entertainment System. I have a lot of fond memories with this thing, and while they may be fleeting as I grow older, sitting down and playing this takes me right back to my old basement, my cousin's house, and many a bunk bed. And to start things off, we've got the greatest sports game on the console.
Number 10.
What? You thought this was gonna be Tecmo Bowl? What am I, American? No, I'm Canadian. And I will admit, it was hard not to put
Blades of Steel
in this spot, but Super Dodgeball has some serious real estate in my memory. This game is just a blast and has created some of the most hilarious memories for me. I remember me and my brother first got our hands on this game while my parents were visiting a family friend, and they said they had a Nintendo, but they could never get it to work. Thankfully, we were proficient at spitting all of the dust out of the NES carts, and we were able to resurrect Super Dodgeball. And I swear I had never laughed so hard in my life. You take control of these River City ransom looking ass dudes, and your goal is to not simply hit the other team with the dodgeball. No. Every player has their own HP value, and different throws have different power levels. Your goal is to straight up commit murder on the opposing team until no one is left standing. Or living. Not only that, but you can pull off some serious DBZ bullshit with your throws. Split your ball into three, curveball that flaming energy sphere, or take them to the fucking moon!
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Absolute riot, and a very easy game to pick up and play and just have a time. The graphics can be pretty jank though.
Number 9.
Not gonna lie, when I was writing this and thinking about this game, I had a battle with my own sanity and sense of existence. Did this game actually exist? Was this an actual thing that happened? Or a shared delusion isolated within my own family? I have never, not once, ever heard another human being talk about this game aside from those I actually played it with. This is Anticipation, a 4-player board game on the NES based on what seems like Pictionary and Trivial Pursuit. You need to guess what this magical pencil is drawing based on a category or clue. Buzz in and type out your answer before anyone else. If you do, you get a colored square, and once you get all 4, you can ascend to the higher plane of existence where the clues get harder or are completely gone. And once you defeat the 3rd layer of heaven, you are the winner. The real thing that sticks out about this game to me though is the music. This track right here will get embedded into my brain for weeks. The perfect "oh shit, what's he drawing" tune to see if whatever is being drawn in the 80s still even exists today. Seriously, what is this? What? Lots of fun memories with this one. Thanks, Proto Mario Party.
Number 8.
Tetris, guys. It's Tetris. The only game I would ever say is truly perfect. There's no improving this. Sure, you can make the graphics shinier, the music more elaborate, maybe adjust the speed and acceleration a bit, but the core gameplay itself is just literally perfect. It's 4 blocks. You drop the 4 blocks and you try to avoid creating any gaps. Fill a line, it's gone. Simple, yet addictive, tense, and as you progress, the difficulty ramps up as the blocks start to fall faster and faster. All the while, the colors change, which just adds to the intensity as you see just how much farther you can make it before ultimately mashing yourself against the ceiling. But nothing matches that feeling you get when you pull off the elusive Tetris. Sure, sex is great, but have you ever dropped a line piece straight down the middle of a Tetris board, with either side of the arena being a population of densely packed blocks part of their own community, where connecting those two sides will forever mean peace, harmony, and unity as they are taken to the other side as one? Has your penis ever done that, Chad? Tetris is good. 99 out of 100 dentists would agree.
Number 7.
Yeah, baby, we nitro right now. Star Tropics is one of Nintendo's forgotten childs and will forever live in the hearts of NES fans worldwide. This tropical-themed action RPG is such a friggin' pleasure to play through. I just love the entire aesthetic from top to bottom. You play as a boy named Mike, who's going to visit his scientist uncle only to find he's completely disappeared before you got there. From there, you're set on a quest to find out what happened to your uncle using some of his robotic inventions to do so. The story escalates from there in a big way, but that's not really why I love this game so much. It's the gameplay and of course the music. When you first pick this game up, the controls are gonna feel stiff as hell. and it's because the controls are stiff as hell. You are stuck moving on a grid-based system where your enemies aren't always restricted to this. In order to even turn or move, you need to basically come to a complete stop and then move. I get it, it sounds horrible, and I'm doing a really bad job selling the game, but there's something to be said about it. After a little while, you get the hang of it, and I ended up loving it. It's the Resident Evil 1 effect. Sometimes it's just better to not let the player do anything that easily. Nowadays, I definitely don't have that kind of patience, but during the time where there were only like 200 games I could play as opposed to 20,000, I was able to really sink my teeth into it, and I'm glad I did. You go through a series of Zelda-like dungeons, figuring out puzzles, battling enemies and bosses, gaining upgrades, increasing your HP, and even being able to cast some spells. It's just freaking cool, okay? And if you want to dive into a retro adventure, give this a try, but have a bit of patience with it.
Number 6.
Okay, I swear, after this one, it's gonna be games you've actually heard about. When people talk about licensed games on the NES, they're typically talking about DuckTales, Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Nah, dog, not here. In this house, we eat peanut butter to go along with the Slam Jam. We also force bad puns pretty hard. I hope if that bugs you too much, you'll be okay. For real though, this game's a blast. It looks like a platformer, but to me it feels more like a puzzle game. You can't do anything other than walk. You walk up staircases, through pipes, go through doors, and any single hit from an enemy kills you. The goal is to grab every carrot in any given level and avoid death. You can occasionally find some tools laying around to bop the enemy characters, which is nice, but the main draw of the gameplay is figuring out the enemy AI and charting out a safe path to get to the next carrot. I guess in reality, this is more of like a stealth collectathon? Sure. Either way, this game is addictive as hell. Another game I had my hands on at a young age and really put some hair on my gaming chest, because this game is brutal at times. If you're looking to turn your hungus into a chungus, then give this game a whirl.
Number 5.
Cracking the Vampire Slayer whip across classic monster ass all began here in the original Castlevania. This is straight up the only game on this list that I did not play as a kid in any form. I played it for the first time on the Wii U eShop of all places. I had absorbed a lot of Castlevania through osmosis from listening to its incredible music, and I had played Symphony of the Night on the Xbox 360 and wanted to look into the series further, and figured the best place would be the beginning. And once I did, I fell in love. In fact, I totally switched how I viewed and preferred Castlevania games as a whole. I had always looked at them as just the Metroidvania style. But no, it all started as level-based platforming, monster melting, boss killing, pick up and play slaying.
I didn't come to play, I came to slay.
It's Castlevania at its most simple, but I love me some simple. It's nice not to have 20 stat points, 5 equipment slots, and a mitt full of magic spells and a ridiculously huge map to worry about sometimes. Occasionally it's fun to just walk right and kill shit to some absolutely rockin' tunes. I will admit, it was tough for me to pick between this and Castlevania 3, but I've never actually finished Dracula's Curse, so it didn't feel right putting it here. It's a fantastic game too, and Simon's Quest also exists. Anyway, Castlevania. It's fucking good and metal as hell. Play it.
Number 4.
More like number 4, am I right? And no, I did not put Kirby here just for that joke, I swear. Anyway, Kirby's Adventure is the second game in the Kirby series, with Dreamland on the Game Boy being the actual first. However, it is the first game where Kirby got his signature copy ability, and it feels so damn good. I played this game for the first time when it was remade on the GBA as Nightmare in Dreamland, and I had no idea it even was a remake until playing the 3D classic version on the 3DS, which is also my preferred way to play this game now. Seriously though, it's Kirby. You eat enemies, you absorb their powers, and use them to kill the other enemies because they're either trying to take your food, mess with your home or your friends,
Or trying to summon an evil immortal demon god who is hell-bent on absorbing all life and joy from existence and reset the universe to nothing.
you know, classic Kirby stuff. By the way, I'm not even joking a little bit. Go check out this video to see what I'm talking about. It's real good. It's cozy. It's got an absolutely killer soundtrack and just puts a big fat smile on my face while picking this up on occasion. Big happies.
Number 3.
More like number 4, am I right? Now do you believe me about not picking Kirby for number 4? I could have easily written this into a joke too, but I clearly didn't, at all. Okay, so I am a massive Mega Man fan, and I had to restrict myself from putting all the Mega Man NES titles here, or they would have just dominated this list. And also Mega Man 6. I chose 4 as my personal favorite because of a few reasons. One, it was the introduction of the Mega Buster, and in its first form, it's less of a Hadouken and more of a laser, which I kinda loved. The charging sound effect is obnoxious as hell, but it hasn't stopped me from loving the game regardless. One of my favorite games is Sonic Adventure 2, for God's sakes. It also has my absolute favorite Robot Master and level theme, Skullman. I've been drinking out of this Skullman mug for years on Twitch, and I absolutely love how he looks and his theme song. Look at this guy and tell me he is not the most wily looking motherfucker in the whole crew. He is on brand, baby. The sound effects are crunchy, the items you get are absolutely ridiculous, power-up placements are genius, the soundtrack bops so goddamn hard, and the castle stages are some of the best in the series. This is a fantastic representation of Mega Man on the NES, but really you can't go wrong with any of them. Just don't play 6.
Number 2.
Super Mario Brothers 3!
Holy shit.
How could this not be here? How? It's literally perfect! Every time I see that yellow box art, I smile. It's iconic! The Herculean leap in quality from Mario Bros 1 and 2 to this cannot be understated. I've been praising games like Star Tropics and Castlevania despite their stiff controls, but this game has the tightest control in the system right alongside Mega Man. I still to this day think this is the best 2D Mario game. I love everything about it. The world map and all of its secrets, the inventory and frankly crazy amount of both field and level items you can collect along the way, and the entire soundtrack just bops! I think my favorite track in the game has to be the Hammer Bros battle theme. That gets my engine roaring. But the biggest selling point for me is the sheer amount of power-ups this game has, especially the full suits. The Frog, Tanuki, and Hammer Bros suit power-ups were always so hyped to get your hands on, and only ever in rare secret places could you find these in the level themselves. It made them feel special, and I love that they all had different abilities aside from what you would normally expect. All the various worlds that at the time hadn't been played way the fuck out yet made progressing through the game truly a magical adventure. And even still, some of these worlds' uniqueness still holds up today. Giant Land and Pipe Land being my two favorites, obviously. I also really loved the epic climb up the tower to get to the sky in World 5. There were a lot of cool ideas all jammed into one of the best video game sequels ever made. It has the music, the graphics, the controls, the epic scale, the tight gameplay, the boom boom baby! And yet it's not number 1? If we're being real here, originally this was at my number 1 spot, but after recording all the footage for this episode, I had to change it.
Number 1.
Anyone who watches me stream knew this was coming from a mile away. The OG Final Fantasy means so much to me. Before I even knew how to read, I was playing this game at my cousin's house, spending hours wandering around trying not to die, exploring the world, dying anyway, and not once getting sick of it. I remember too, my cousin had the world map poster, and on the back was every enemy in the game, and I would stare at it for hours, and just think of how crazy it would be if I were to ever actually find chaos. This game, man. This game. I get emotional just thinking about it. It was the grandest of grand adventures, and it didn't require any insane twitch reflexes since it was purely turn-based. I was able to get absorbed in the world in a time where games were incredibly narrow and linear in nature. This was truly mind-blowing. I could create a party of friends however I wanted and embark on an epic adventure slaying the fiends of earth, fire, water, and wind. And this soundtrack still holds up so well, oh my god. The overworld theme is the song I think of whenever I think embarking on an adventure. That bass riff opening to the battle theme is forever the unsheath my sword and prepare for battle hype builder. Matoya's Cave has big smoke weed in a van energy, and the Chaos Shrine is my go-to theme when I think we finally made it, boys. This is it. It's time to kill chaos. The game's combat is a bit different from other RPGs in that if you attack an enemy and it dies within the same turn before your action, you'll swing at air and your attack will be completely wasted. Many people hate this, but I friggin' love this and wish it were used more. This makes every battle truly engaging. You need to actually think about who attacks what and do some quick on-the-fly calculations in order to optimize your party's turn. Auto battle isn't fun, folks. You're just watching the game play itself. This system actively discourages mashing A or holding it down in favor of making deliberate choices with each party member. It makes battles fun, and I will die on this hill, damn it! Okay, I could talk about this game for a lot longer, and plan to do just that eventually. But for now, I'll just end by talking about some of my favorite memories. getting absolutely juiced at the Peninsula of Power, trying to ensure my party stays on the same XP curve by keeping them all alive, feeling the insane tension of walking across the Warmech Bridge, abusing the hell out of the castable items in the late game, impressing Bahamut with a severed rat tail so he could chatify my group of V cards, and watching my metal as fuck White Wizard flip enemies the bird.
Hey yo, fuck you, Kraken!
When I started up this list, I recorded all the footage through the NES Classic, the Switch Online NES app, and totally legit real game cards for the others. I wanted to get a bit of footage for Final Fantasy since it would take a while to get through, but as you can see here, I kept going. And the hours melted away, and this is why I changed this to number 1. The game completely absorbed me right back into it from start to finish. And I knew it would the second I crossed that Cornelian Bridge. I absolutely love Final Fantasy, and that will never change. And that is why this is Tarvould's best NES game. Huge shout out and thanks go to my supporters on Patreon. The fact that you guys are generous enough to support me and want to see my creations honestly fills me with determination. Big thanks go out to Connor Binder, James Cummings, Welfare High, Melody Love, Redmond, and Piracom. You guys rock. If you want to support me on Patreon, head to patreon.com/TarvouldsQuest and check out the various tiers and rewards, including a custom-made spread head. For those of you who don't know, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday over at twitch.tv/TarvouldsQuest. So definitely head over there and drop a follow to know when I go live. And if you ever miss a stream, I have a second channel here on YouTube called Tarvoulds Quest VOD, where you can catch up on any playthrough that I've done so far. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next quest.